go. Right. Talk about employment. Yeah. So we will have two parts for this chapter. Okay. We'll focus on, of course, employment and also unemployment. And for employment, we will talk about like the changing patterns and level of employment in different economies. Okay, in different countries, the employment patterns have been changing throughout the years. So we want to look at what caused the change in employment pattern and also the level of employment. Okay, we want to look at the reasons. And for unemployment, look, of course, we want to know what causes unemployment, and we want to know what could be the biggest consequences because of unemployment. And that's why our government would like to control employment and unemployment. Okay, all right, yeah. So the same pattern as what we have learned from inflation and economic growth. Yeah, we are trying to understand why it is so important for a government to control it, to manage it. Okay, in order to achieve a specific goal. All right. So yeah, we are going to go through employment first. Okay, but before we go to the changing patterns and level, we need to know something basic. Okay, all right. So we need to know what employment is. Can someone just tell me what employment is? What is employment? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what employment is. Come on, someone just put it in the chat. Yeah, just so that I know what employment is. What is employment? Right, yeah, just like that. Having jobs. Okay, employment. Yeah, we don't really have a specific definition for that. So having jobs, okay, being employed, that's employment. Okay, and now talking about employment, how do you calculate employment rate? But don't go to Google. Yeah, don't go to Google yet. Yeah, think. If we are trying to calculate employment rate, how should we calculate it? What would you do? Okay, okay, this is good. Employed adults over total adults. Jobs created over population. Okay, Myra, number of people employed over population times 100%. Okay, all right. I think we have some general consensus here. Yeah, so it's all by employed people over the total population. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to show you the answer. It's a bit different. It's a bit different. Okay, so yeah, for the numerator, you guys are all correct. Yeah, number of employed, you guys are all correct. But now, when it comes to the denominator, it's a bit different. Yeah, you always have to remember we are not using the total population to find employment rate. Okay, we are just going to look at the labor force. All right, yeah, we are looking at the labor force and see the employment rate. Okay, yeah, so when we look at employment rate, we always focus on people who would like to find a job, okay, and who is working as well. So yeah, so this is the first one that you have to remember, and yeah, you want to understand. So now you want to understand what labor force is. So I'm just going to tell you this one right here. Labor force is basically the number of people who reached the working age and they are willing and able to work. That's labor force. All right? Yeah. So, if this is the definition of labor force, do you think the unemployed will be inside labor force as well? Oh yeah. That is a good question, Matthew. How do you know if someone wants to work or not? Yeah, and from time to time, when you look at the government statistics, you will see some biases, okay? Because never will be able to find 100% accurate data from through observation and and some other sources. Okay, so at the end, when we look at the data, it's only for prediction, okay, for estimation. We will never be able to get the most correct answer from the data. So from time to time, you will see, in the data set, they will tell you a number of deviation that you should refer to. Okay, well, yeah, that is not in the curriculum, but when you look at the real world, usually when you look at the statistics, they will show you that. Okay, so when you are being a researcher and you want to know how big the deviation is, then yeah, it will give you some insights. Yeah, so that's I hope you find that helpful. Okay, the answer. Well, let's go back to the question that I had. Look, if now you know this is the definition of labor force, do you think the unemployed people is inside the labor force? So labor force, do you think the unemployed people, can you explain it? Why not, Julian? Based on the definition, who reached the working age, who are willing and able to work. Depends on why they are unemployed. They could be unwilling to work or not qualified. Well, that's very good. Yeah, so here we actually find some insights about the limitation when we are calculating unemployment rate. And the insights that you have here is not in this curriculum, is in the IB curriculum actually. Okay, so Julian and Matthew, I think you guys had some very good points. But yeah, right now we are not really focusing on that part, but you guys are correct about it. Okay, yeah, when we are talking about employment rate, there will be always some bias based on the definition, because now we are restricting the definition here, who are willing and able to work. But what if people who are not willing to work? Yeah, so do we treat them as unemployed as well? Should we do that? But in the reality, when we are trying to get the numbers, we are excluding them based on the definition. Okay, so those are some problems. But yeah, but now let's get it like more simple. All right, so here I would say, look, in general, okay, in general, labor force is basically the employed people plus the unemployed people. All right, yeah, the employed people and also the unemployed people. Okay, and we will talk about how we define unemployed people later on when we go to unemployment. Okay, but now you just have to focus on this. So labor force is not the entire population. It's just the people who would like to work and who are able to work. Okay, yeah. So these are some very important elements: willingness, okay, and the ability. All right, yeah, that will put them into the labor force. If they don't have one of them, then they will not be in the labor force. Okay, so what do you think? What kind of people do you think will not have the willingness to work? What kind of people? Elderly, maybe. Yeah, elderly, maybe. People in education. Okay. Teens who stay at home gaming. Yeah, talking about those fighting, right? Exactly. Yeah. Nito, right? Needs. Yeah. Usually, well, I think this. Yeah, the disabled. Right. So there you go. Yeah. The lack of willingness and the lack of ability to work. You see here, there are so many different people, right? People who are lazy, people who are disabled, people who are old. Yeah, people can work at home. Yeah, of course, but this is what we are talking about in general. Okay, so maybe you can also talk about housewife. Okay, housewife is able to work, but they're not willing to work. So if you talk about housewife, it's not in the labor force. Okay, so you get the idea how people they calculate employment rate. or unemployment rate. Well, unemployment rate is just very similar. You just change the numerator into unemployed. That's all. Okay. All right. Yeah. So there you go. You can see some flaws and biases from this equation and the definition right here. Okay, so good job, guys. I really like the answers that you have. Okay, I didn't expect those answers, but you guys gave me some very good points. I like that. Okay, and also here just some information for you guys. In Hong Kong, the minimum working age is 15. So now I think you are good to go. Yeah, I think you are good to go. You can go to work basically. Okay. Yeah. Right. Anyone who is working right now, do you have a part-time job, freelance? Anyone? I don't think so. Maybe. No. Okay. Even if you have one, I don't think you are going to tell me. Are you sure, Merrick? You have a freelance job? Oh, all right. Not technically a job. Okay. Okay, Robin. Yeah. So here, I guess I will say happy birthday in advance. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin. I don't know if that is a scam or not. Yeah. Right. Okay. But you know what? Look, in Hong Kong, it's actually not that rigid. All right. The minimum working age is 15. But when you turn on the TV and you switch your remote to some crappy channel, you will see some like kids. They were in the dramas, so they were basically being employed as well. So yeah. So there are some restrictions when you are under 15 and you wanted to work. Okay, there are some restrictions in Hong Kong. You can still work. Okay, but in general, the minimum working age is 15. So yeah, that's what the law says in Hong Kong. Child actors could be, yeah. Usually, I'm not so sure like how much they earn per hour. Yeah, but it's a good experience exposure. Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, goes to agent and other people. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I would say exposure sometimes is more valuable than the money that you earn. Yeah, look at some stars. They were used to be like child actors, and then they became like huge star in Hong Kong or in Hollywood. Yeah, right. I couldn't think of any examples of any. Oh yeah. Um, Matt Damon. I think Matt Damon was used to be a child actor. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, any other examples? Scarlett Johansson. I think she was used to be a child actor as well. Yeah, but now very big star. Okay. Yeah, different people. Okay. Yeah, so it's okay. Sometimes you will find something even more valuable when you are doing things like that. So don't always look at the monetary value. Okay. Yeah. This is very important. Okay. Even when you go to work, look, sometimes you have to look at something more intrinsic. Yeah, because they will give you better opportunities. So in the long run, you might actually earn way more than when you just look at monetary value in the short run. Right. Yeah. So there you go. So employment rate. Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah, just one more question and then I will end it here. Okay, so when you look at the statistics in Hong Kong, I think this is one very good website. It's a government department. I suggest you guys copy that because it's good for you when you get to IB or when you get to university because you have to do your EE and it's a research essay. You need some evidence to support your ideas, and for some real data, it's always good to find it in this department. They have all kinds of data that you can find, demographic data, financial data, etc., etc. Okay, yeah. So if you have free time, go ahead, yeah, get to this website and browse it, and you will find something very interesting in this website. So I just copy some data from this website here. So you can look at the employment rate in Hong Kong in the recent decade. So you see from 2006, 2011, all the way to 2018. Okay, this is the employment rate. I would say is between 95 to 97. Yeah, so you see basically almost the entire labor force is having a job. Yeah. So, if that is the case, what do you think full employment is? What do you think that is? Full employment. What do you think? A percentage, a 100% employment rate. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, when you just look at the term, it makes sense. Full employment, 100% employment rate. That makes sense, but it is not what you think. It is not what you think. Okay, full employment is just basically when almost everyone in the labor force has a job. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. All right, yeah, the definition for full employment is different than the one that you have based on common sense. Okay, so you may want to ask why suddenly it becomes so odd. Yeah, when you talk about full employment, and now you say, if you have almost everyone in the labor force who has a job, then it is full employment. Why? Do you think a country is able to get 100% employment? Do you think it's possible? Not possible, but can you tell me why? What could be the possible reasons why a country will never get to 100% employment? Okay, merit disparity. Well, so you can assume now for the entire country, people, they are so rich. Okay, they have like very even distribution of income. But even when you have a situation like this, you are still not able to get 100% employment. And Julian, some are like seasonal. Yeah, that could be one of them. Seasonal. Okay, you need to think about some jobs. They don't always have it throughout the year. Okay, think about the Santa Claus. Yeah, do you see the Santa Claus in the summer? Well, you don't really see Santa Claus in the summer. They only work for winter. Okay, all right, but not for the Santa Claus in Australia. Yeah, so if you go to Australia, in the summer, you will see the Santa Claus. They'll be serving. They'll be serving in the in the ocean, and they will just throw different gifts to people on the beach. Is quite fun. Oh really? The real one, or the one that we saw the other day in CKY. Yeah, you remember, guys? There was a Santa Claus before, like 2 years ago. He just went to CKY, and no, you guys don't remember that? There was a real Santa Claus. Well, they told us that was the real Santa Claus. It was like the school told us that Santa Claus is certified. I know it sounds ridiculous. It's a Santa Claus which is certified. No, I'm not talking about that certified. Okay, I'm talking about having a certificate. Okay, so being a Santa Claus, you have to do some exams and stuff, which is great. Yeah, I guess. All right. So yeah, so seasonal, that is so true. Okay, right. And you are going to expect some people, when they are changing different jobs, maybe because of contracts, yeah, they'll be in between the gap for a few days or a few weeks before they get to the next job. So in between, they will have unemployed, right? Yeah, so that situation also consider in this case. So in an economy, it's so difficult to get to 100%. Yeah, based on what we have in nature. All right, so it's totally normal that a country that is not having 100% employment. All right, it makes total sense. It's just common sense in our society, and that's why when we define full employment, different countries they have a different percentage for full employment, and that's why I would say, look, it only occurs when almost everyone in the labor force has a job. Okay, does it make sense to you? Yeah, right? Okay, so I think I'm going to end it here. So that is basically the introduction of employment for you guys. I hope you understand a little more about how we calculate employment. Okay, make sure we are not divide the employed people by the population, but the labor force when we're trying to calculate that employment rate. And also, the definition of full employment, yeah, is a bit different than what you thought, but now we all get it. Okay? All right. Any questions so far? Yeah, I mean, as always, if you have questions, just feel free to ask. Okay? I'm happy to answer your questions. Right. Okay, alright, yep. If there's nothing else, then I think I will let you go. Well, what about the homework that you are working? Is there any problems? Concerns? Okay, yeah, I saw that, Bowen. Yeah, good job. Yeah, right. Okay, if there's no problem, then yeah, I'll let you finish the homework, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think. Yeah, no, no more tomorrow. Maybe not. No, maybe not tomorrow. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank God, no tomorrow. Okay, all right. Bye, 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 guys. Bye, 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 bye. Next week. Yeah, see you guys next week. Bye, bye. All right, bye.